already start.
Okay. Hello, good morning everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to extend to you all a very warm welcome on behalf of Pharmocracy. My name is Vindhya Regonda and I am an intern at Pharmocracy. This webinar is a chapter of our education awareness program which will throw light on patents and IPR in pharma industry. Basically, Pharmocracy is an organization that works for the pharmacist, by the pharmacist, and of the pharmacist. We believe in recognizing, identifying, and strengthening the unique capabilities of each student, promoting each student's holistic development in both academics and non academic spheres. The supportive environment here makes it a safe space to learn life skills such as communication, teamwork, cooperation, and resilience. In order to bridge the gap between the content that is covered in curriculum and the skills that are required by industry, Pharmacad came up with this initiative to create a platform where all the important qualities are covered. Without taking any more time, I would like to invite the man of distinct vision, Mr. Pranav Ganatra, founder of Pharmacad and Pharmocracy, to educate the audience about Pharmacad and what all we have for the young minds and budding pharmacists. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Vindhya. Good morning, the entire team of Pharmocracy. And thank you so much, Rahul sir, as well, for joining us and sharing his time on a Sunday for enlightening the students. So Pharmacad here is providing higher education options for masters, MBA, or abroad. We provide guidance to the students for education in India and abroad. We also have one activity which is Pharmocracy, which has been very well described by Vindhya already, so I won't take much time on that. And we also have one more activity called The Agonist, which is a monthly pharmaceutical magazine run by the students and teachers at Pharmacad. All these activities are usually to make students more interactive with the industry personnel right from the start, so that they don't have to work a little harder after their graduation. So this helps them to connect with the industry people right from the student level. So thank you so much, Vindhya, and thank you so much, the team Pharmocracy. Congratulations for this event as well. And thank you so much, Rahul sir, for joining us again. Thanks.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us all. Moving forward, I would like to introduce my whole team, which is led by Mr. Nikhil Tukral, who has completed MBA in Pharmaceutical Marketing from SBM and MIMS Mumbai. This is our entire team. Before we start, let me explain you how you can talk to us during the webinar. If you have any questions during the presentation, there is a Google question and answer link. Just you have to click on that link and write your questions. It will automatically show up to us. Now, without any further delay, I would like to invite our speaker, Mr. Rahul Bagga. The words are less to introduce his personality. He has completed his master's in chemical engineering from Imperial College London and is a registered Indian patent agent with more than a decade's experience of working in IP sector in 3 different countries. Currently, he is the founder and managing director of Aumirah and has served more than 500 plus domestic and foreign clients over last 5 years in India and across the world. With this significant expertise in IP, he has advised companies, startups, MSMEs from across multiple industries such as biotechnology, AI, robotics, electric vehicles, drones, defense, agriculture, nanotechnology, and many more. We all welcome you, sir. Platform is yours.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for a very warm welcome. I thought I should turn on my camera just so everybody can see me. Okay. I think we can. I would like to. I can share the screen now. I can. Okay. Okay. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Guys, first of all, thank you for considering me to be part of Pharma and Pharmocracy. I believe that it's a recently started organization, and uh, and it's a good thing that you're, as a pharmacy students, you're focusing on intellectual property rights, which I found very surprising when I learned from Anushka that IP was not covered in pharmaceutical undergrad level, because Indian pharmaceutical industry has existed, or if they have been able to spread their wings, is because they have a lot of products in US and Europe. And this US and Europe, with so much IP intensive competition, they build and they develop huge IP teams to take care of IP issues in US and Europe. So I found it quite surprising that academia is not in tune with what's happening, what actually has been happening since last 30, 40 years, and how the Indian generic companies became big. It was all understanding the nitty gritty of IP law, especially patent law, with respect to pharmaceuticals, medical devices in US and Europe, the high value and high volume markets. But there I durasta hai. So I will I'll try to touch on few things here, especially I won't be covering the other kinds of IP. I'll be focusing on patent law per se. But if you have questions on other IPs, maybe I can take them towards the end, and we can handle the other IP through interaction, through an interactive session. But this session, this lecture I'm going to give is focused on patent law and how what kind of inventions are patentable, what happens in US, that Indian pharmaceutical companies have good and like huge IP teams to take care of it, and what kind of careers you can explore in intellectual property rights. What's the right profile of a person who wants to be in IP industry. Let me start on the background and discussion. The slide deck I have shared is huge. It's 51 slides, really big, not worth giving. Slides I think should be less than only 10 or 15. But this can be shared by Pharmocracy among their students, among their members, just so it serves as a handy reference as well, if they want to, refer back to some matters on IP or especially on patent law. So I'll be covering about patent laws, what is patentable and non-patentable subject matter in India, pharmaceutical drug patents, and very important act, Hatch-Waxman Act, and Orange Book listings, and exclusivities by FDA. The FDA I'm referring here is not Indian FDA or the local FDA, it's the US FDA. Then generic drug development and patent challenges, and some case studies and then questions. Now, I understand that everybody here, we are starting off and I'm starting off with the assumption nobody knows anything about patents, so I'll just get to it right away. Now, the patent is sort of a contract that you enter with the government of a country, in which you agree to disclose your entire invention, and return the government agrees to grant you an exclusive right to stop others from making that invention or using that invention. Okay, so patent is basically any right granted by any sovereign country to an inventor for disclosing their invention. That is the operative word, disclosing, because some people may ask, wow, why can't we keep pharmaceuticals as trade secret, for example? Well, I will explain that through a life experience I have had. But patent law necessarily encourages disclosure. You cannot keep anything secret. So the contract is, if you disclose this, and in return you get 20 years of monopoly, you can sell this product, and anybody trying to sell this using your invention will not be able to sell it. And that is what has built the entire US based generic industry, that aspect of the patent law. Now, the rights are all territorial. Okay, rights are a territorial means if I file a patent in India and I get registered in India, then it's good only for India. If I have to enforce my patents in US and Europe, I have to file my patents in US and Europe. If I want to stop others, somebody developed a product in China using, say, you come up with a new API, and now this new API is being manufactured in China and being sold in USA. You do not have patent protection either in US and neither in US and nor in China. Then, but you have API patent only in India. You cannot do anything about it. Okay. But if you have patents in India, in US, you can stop the import of that product from China to India and US. Okay. So the kind of rights granted by patent are this. So you can stop the import of the product in the country. You can stop any company to manufacture it in that country. You can stop it from selling. You can stop it from offering for sale, and you can stop it from being used in any other invention. Okay. Now, I want you to contrast this, or you can say put in perspective with the tangible property rights, the actual property rights that exist, or like the rights on your land, on your house, on your bike, on your computer. Essentially, all property rights are negative rights. Okay. Having a bike doesn't mean, you can turn it into a walking disco, or buying an apartment in a condominium doesn't mean you can turn it into a club or a shop, right? The rights given to you when you buy a property depends on where you bought it. Like if you bought it in commercial space, yeah, the rights given to you is to do commercial activities. You cannot make it a bar or pub unless you take a license for that, right? So the property rights are almost always negative. They are to stop others from using your property. So when you have bought a house, although you cannot turn it into a club, you can stop others from entering your house without your permission. Okay. Otherwise, if somebody enters your house without your permission, that is breaking and entering, B&E. And similarly, patent rights are also should be viewed in the same sense. They allow you to stop others from using your property. So somebody has to license a product from you to be able to sell that product in the market. Okay. You must have seen how Serum Institute has entered licensing deals with foreign companies to sell the COVID-related vaccines. Bharat Biotech has developed a product together with ICMR. I think the intellectual property rests with ICMR, and there is an exclusive license back to a private company. So these are the licenses being given so that, and when the property of exclusive license is same as the property of a patent. If I give you an exclusive license, even I cannot practice that invention, even though I'm an inventor or owner of the application. Okay. So ICMR cannot give that license to anybody unless the other party revokes it or they come to a realization that other people need it. Okay. Now coming to, I've already told you patent rights is to stop others from making, offering, putting it on the market, or using the product or process, using or importing a product obtained by a process which is patented. So what if you have patented a process? What happens? How is that enforced? For example, you come up with a new process to make paracetamol, and how would you enforce it? So anybody selling paracetamol in the market using your process, you can stop them. It's not like paracetamol koi bana nahi sakta hai. Paracetamol is off patent long ago, right? But new processes are they're being continually developed, different formulations, different etc. But there may be a new process of manufacturing paracetamol. But if you patent it, your exclusivity is only for the process, not on the molecule. Okay, the molecule is still off patent. Molecule can still be commercialized using other processes which are off patent. Okay. And one more thing, having a patent does not mean you have the right to practice your invention. All right. That doesn't mean you have the right. Having a patent just means you have right to stop others from practicing your invention. In law, these are two very different things. For example, you come up with an API, and that can only be delivered to API to treat cancer, for example, and it can be delivered to the affected site through a particular nanoparticle, say of PDMS, right? So the drug will be loaded onto this nanoparticle, will be delivered to the cell. And now that's the product you have made. That API is yours. You have taken a patent on it. Okay. It cannot be delivered by any other means in the body other than this particular technology. Now, this technology is also has a patent on it. That's why even if you have a patent on your API, you cannot sell it in the market without licensing it without licensing the code pending technologies from other parties. That's what it means. So when a pharmaceutical company wants to launch a product in the market, we as professionals conduct what is called as freedom to operate study. Okay. In that freedom to operate study, we are trying to find out whether your product or process or formulation is going to infringe any live patent in this particular market. That's the whole agenda. So any marketing team, before they are set to launch, okay, we are going to launch this atorvastatin, this new this drug, and now it may be off patent for Pfizer. The API may be off patent, but there may be formulations that are patented in India. So are we infringing those formulations or not? They want a confirmation because nobody wants to accrue a cost of litigation. In India, litigation is also getting very frequent now. Okay. Now, patents are granted for inventions. Now, what is an invention and how it is different from discovery? Invention is something made by man. Simple. It has to be developed or made by human intervention. Discovery is something which is out there lying. Somebody found it. It's still there, and that kind of things are not patentable. I'll come to those things. What are the things that are not patentable in pharma? But invention is something that is developed or made or produced by human intervention. Okay, so patents are granted for something related to human interventions. This is the history of patent system. I think I'll skip it. You guys can read it. Now, coming to patentable subject matter. Before we even discuss what are the 3 criteria of patentability, we must discuss whether the idea itself is patentable according to Indian law. Usko bolte hain patent eligibility check. Whether your product or API or whatever you have developed is eligible for patent or not. Okay, patent eligibility is different and patentability is different. You may be patentable but may not be patent eligible. So if you're not patent eligible, you cannot get a patent. Okay, so what are patentable ideas? What is the patentable subject matter in Indian law is something I'm going to address. Now, in India, you can get a patent in pharmaceuticals on product or process, not on the use. There are many companies in India who are working on repurposing of drug. In COVID pandemic that is ongoing right now, repurposing of the drug has been done drastically, too often, unfortunately, to very bad consequences. And WHO's, and after it has gone into mainstream media, this drug is short and this drug, we do not have this drug, etc. Then WHO releases a guideline. This drug is actually not good enough. It has been happening, but repurposing of the drug has done its hits and misses in this pandemic. People have been saved, but you cannot. That's why you cannot claim use of a drug in India. Okay, you can only claim a product as an API or a formulation or the process of making that API or the formulation. Only that is patent. Only that is a kind of claim, or that is a kind of embodiments you can protect in India. Okay. Coming to, I will first address the patent eligibility. Okay. Now, Section 3A of Indian Patents Act is very sure of, well, not very sure. I mean, it dictates that frivolous inventions cannot be given patent. Okay. If you say कि ये paracetamol खा के आप हवा में उड़ोगे, मतलब anti-gravity हो जाओगे, that yeah, this is a new API. If you consume it, you will have anti-gravity motion. वो होता है. There are different drugs, but you get it, right? These are frivolous inventions. These are not patentable. Any outlandish claim about your drug will not be taken lightly. It may be rejected. But the most important patent eligibility check for pharma is section 3B, which says any commercial exploitation of any use of any invention which is contrary to public order or can cause serious prejudice to health or human or plant life or animal life, that is not patentable. Like addiction drugs, okay, drugs that induce depression or suicidal feelings, okay, any drug related to warfare or device in India, it won't be patentable, okay. Like Terminator gene technology introduced by Monsanto so that their seeds do not reproduce the next time, and the farmer has to buy the seeds from Monsanto all the time. That was considered against public order or morality, and especially causing health prejudice to the health of plant life. So it was not given patent in India. Section 3C, mere discovery of scientific principle of formulation of an abstract theory is not patentable. So if you have a theory saying that this drug, I have done an essay, I've done a study on 60 people, and this drug can work in this kind of dosage forms, or this can work in this leads to depression of these kind of hormones. These are all considered as discovery of scientific principles. They are patentable. They may be made patentable, but that then you're entering the realm of artificial intelligence, software programs, and all that. Okay, but discovery of any living thing, discovery of known living substance occurring in nature is not patentable. Like genes isolated from human body are not patentable, or from any living being. There are several patents, or there are several molecules. Sorry, there are several molecules which have been extracted from plants, like metformin. Okay, the line one drug, the frontline drug for treating diabetes or curing or managing diabetes, was extracted from a plant, French lilac. It's not patentable because it has been extracted from a plant source. So anything you extract from a natural source is not patentable in India, in US. Okay, it's not patentable anymore. So there are several companies, several scientists, your professors, some of them might be working on extracting compounds from materials that they know, like jamun se आपने एक drug निकाल लिया which is responsible, jamun, right? It's the blueberry, I think, and it's known to be very good in managing diabetes by Ayurveda. Now somebody can extract some molecule out of it. That molecule will not be given patent. You can find out which molecule is responsible for managing this particular activity of jamun or the blueberry, and then but that molecule that you have extracted is not going to be patentable. Okay. Now, this is the most important and most controversial sections of Indian Patent Act, and it exclusively relates to pharmaceutical. Section 3D. I hope many of you might have heard of it. Your professors might have told you. Section 3D. Now, when you find out a new drug, you often end upon its amorphous form. Okay. Now, the companies will file a patent on the amorphous form of the drug. Now, amorphous form of the drug is no good, right? It is just a mixture of several conformations of the molecule. It's not going to work. It's like in semiconductors, electrons are all running in all the directions. So a semiconductor, even a conductor, no electricity can be passed while it is there, while no current is passed through it. Okay, but when you pass a current, all electrons align and the current is passed, right? So similarly, in amorphous form, the efficacy of the drug is very low. So what companies used to do, or do in other countries, is they would file a patent on amorphous form, and then they will develop a crystalline form as well, and they will file a patent on crystalline form, or their esters, or their or their isomers, or something which will be more efficacious, and then the patent will be filed on that as well. So your patent's effective life of your product's patent has increased. So you file this patent in, say, now another patent you file on this after 5 years. So instead of 20 years, the monopoly is now going to last 25 years, because the patent that you have filed after 5 years, it also has 20 years life, right? So this was called as patent evergreening. Section 3D of India expressly prohibited grant of such patents, unless the polymorph or the ester or the ether or the next subsequent molecule shows enhanced efficacy. If you cannot show enhanced efficacy, there's no patent in India for you. Now, Supreme Court of India has left the definition of efficacy open. They don't know. They do not consider bioavailability and bioequivalence studies as good enough to show efficacy. Okay, that is for sure. Because one of the landmark cases against Novartis, there's a drug called Gleevec. Bioequivalence and bioavailability studies given by Novartis were not considered to be persuasive enough to give them a patent on Gleevec, on the crystalline form of Gleevec. Okay, so the patent was revoked. So this is about section 3D. Now this simply means that when we write a patent application in pharmaceuticals, we are trying to claim as many such possibilities as possible from a molecule at the time of writing the first application. If you discover a new property or new use for a known substance, it is not patentable. Again, section 3D. Now, repurposing of drug falls under this. It's a new form or new use of a known substance. Say, paracetamol is also used to inject into chickens to fatten their muscles, to increase their muscle mass, right? So you cannot claim in India use of paracetamol to fatten the chicken. You cannot claim it in India. You can do it in US, you can do it in Europe, you can do it in Singapore, Malaysia, Japan, but not in India. That's not allowed. Okay. So there are many repurposing drug companies. By drug ko repurpose karte hain. There's a lot of talk by the government on let's repurpose the drugs which are already existing. But unless there is an incentive like this, like getting a patent and their ability to enforce that exclusivity, you won't see much headway in India with respect to that, even though we may have talent on this. Section 3E is another important section because it relates to the process, and the pharmaceutical compositions may also fall under this. So if you make a composition which is just admixture of few properties like paracetamol plus aspirin mixed together, now this is my new medicine, that is also not patentable. Okay, metformin plus dispirin, not patentable. Combiflam, it's not patentable because you're only giving additive properties. There is no cumulative effect. There is no more than 1 + 1 = 2, right? That is predictable. But what if 1 + 1, like metformin plus dispirin, if they coming together treat cancer, hypothetically, right? Then it may become patentable. Okay, in their particular dosage form, for example. Okay, so just mixing two drugs and telling, okay, I made a new drug which can accommodate few different symptoms, that will not be just simply considered patentable in India because of this is just aggregation of the properties. Rearrangement or arrangement of the devices is also not patentable. So if you put together a chair and table, not patentable. But yeah, if you make a chair and table which is foldable, which is uniquely functional, it may be patentable as well. So mere arrangement, the word is mere. It should not be just taking a chair, taking a table and screwing them together. It shouldn't be like that. This is another one which concerns with pharmaceutical industry, not at large, but somehow maybe, which is any process of medicinal, surgical, curative, prophylactic, diagnostic, or therapeutic treatment of human beings. So you cannot write a claim in India. You cannot claim method of administering to a patient 5 milligrams of paracetamol or atorvastatin or pantoprazole, for example, right? Because if you write such claims, even doctors can be sued. So nobody should be able to sue a doctor for recommending a medicine if he thinks this medicine is, if the doctor wants to use a medicine off-label, that doctor should be able to use it off-label. So doctor cannot be sued for such things. So, but you can these kind of patents are only allowed in US. In Europe also, these kind of applications are not allowed. Okay, Europe allows this by another method by use claim. Once you are in a bit more, once we do a bit more advanced lecture on this, maybe then we can cover this. Plants and animals are not patentable. So if you come up with a transgenic plant or transgenic animal, they're not patentable in India. They're patentable in US, in Europe, but not in India. Okay, so sometimes pharmaceutical students I see they're working on herbal compositions, right? Mixing few compositions, putting them together, taking turmeric, taking ashwagandha, putting them together and selling it as a trying to get a patent on it. Something like this is not patentable in India because controllers may have told us these are also treated as part of plants and animals. So it's not patentable. Okay. Traditional knowledge. Traditional knowledge is not patentable. Anything out of Ayurveda is not patentable. But if you, for example, if you find out a new way of applying turmeric or the API responsible for turmeric, curcumin, then it may be patentable. Okay, you mix it up with nanotechnology or some new carrier of the molecule, etc., etc. It may be patentable. And if you're working on radiopharmaceuticals which show radiations like for treatment of cancer and all, it is patentable. Okay, they are patentable. We have got patents, but they must not relate to atomic use, atomic energy. Okay, if your claims are, or if your invention gives any hint that they can be used in atomic fuel, they will not be allowed patent. Okay, now you guys must be wondering, कुछ तो patentable है नहीं, तो patentable है क्या? Okay, so these things are patentable. Product is patentable. Product as a new API, new drug, which is not addictive, for example, which is not causing depression or suicide, for example, it's treating a disease rather. Okay, and it's a new API made from, not from nature, synthesized in lab. That's it, you have a patent at hand. Method is also patentable, as I told you, method of making that a molecule is going to be patentable. Use is not patentable in India, already told you. Second medical use, as in repurposing a drug, is also not patentable in India, but it's patentable in US and Europe. So if any of you happen to embark upon a startup related to repurposing of the drugs, your market is in US and Europe. Okay, exclusive markets are there. You will get some good exclusivities there. We have done many studies for many European clients in use claims. We often get work related to repurposing of the drug from Europe. It's very common there, and we conduct what I told you earlier, freedom to operate studies, etc., so that they do not infringe on anybody's patents. Okay. Now, what kind of claims you can write? Do you guys understand claims, or should I show you a typical patent document? Maybe because मैं बहुत claim बोल रहा हूँ. It will be good if I can show you something. Can you see Google Chrome?
No, sir.
Hello. No. Okay. I think my screen share settings are specific. See, this is a typical patent I'm going to show you. So I'll give you what are the different parts of a patent application. This is a US patent application. Okay. So you have an abstract here where if you have read research papers, so abstract serves the same function, give a summary of the invention. Then you have background, you explain what has been happening in this field of invention. Okay. And what are the limitations of this? What are the problems you're trying to solve? Then comes the summary, where you summarize your invention. Then comes the detailed description, where you describe in detail, self-explanatory, your invention with all the examples, experiments, data showing bioavailability, bioequivalence, any kind of data, basically. Okay. And then comes claim. As you can see, we claim. These are the claims. So you can see a claim is a short, like a paragraph sort of line, where you expressly and precisely mention what is your invention. What are you trying to claim? ये सब तो ठीक है, चाहते क्या हो? मतलब वो है ना एक मीम, क्या कहना क्या चाहते हो भाई? So this claim is going to settle that for the controller. So a pharmaceutical formulation comprising particles of amorphous atorvastatin, wherein the particles have a particle size less than 150 micrometers. So that is what he's trying to claim. That is this invention is about. So in future, when you come across a patent document, go and read the first claim and the abstract. You will start making sense of it, what it is about. Okay. So this application is about formulations of atorvastatin, okay, where the particles are less than 150 micrometers. That is this invention is about. So you can write such a claim in India as well. Okay. The kind of claim you cannot write in India, maybe they will give us, is this, as you can see. Yeah. You can write this kind of claim also. A method of making a pharmaceutical formulation. So this is a process claim. Okay. So this is called as process claim, where you are claiming the process. It's a process claim. There is no such thing as a product patent, process patent. Claims can be product claim and process claim. Okay. Then maybe they will have another kind of claim. Then this is another process claim. Now look at claim 74, if you can see, right? A method of treatment for a medical condition. The method comprising providing an oral pharmaceutical dosage comprising a therapeutically effective dosage of atorvastatin, wherein majority of atorvastatin in the pharmaceutical dosage comprises amorphous atorvastatin. So this is a method of treatment claim, because it starts with saying a method of treatment. This is not allowed in India. Okay, this is you're treating a human body, so it will not be allowed in India. Okay, I hope these things are clear. I would really like some questions from you guys so that I know where to take this, the flow of this conversation. Any questions? Hello.
So we'll be
So
having Q&A session at the end.
Come again?
So we'll be having Q&A session at the end.
Okay, all right. So these are the type of claims you can write, like salts, esters, polymorphs, enantiomers. You can write claims on method of producing the compound. You can also write claims on method of delivering the compound at route of administration. A pharmaceutical composition comprising the compound, you can write claims like that as well. A method of treating X, as I told you, not allowed in India. You can write claims on dosing regimens. You can write combination treatments, as I told you, like combiflam may have been patentable if it did not have a additive properties. Okay, so synergistic effect is required. Detection of a disease, biomarkers, personalized medicine is patentable, and medical devices are patentable. Now this is the act, Hatch-Waxman Act of the US government, that has sparked the generic industry around the world. Okay, because US continues to be the high volume, high value pharmaceutical, highest volume, highest value pharmaceutical market of the world. So जितने भी बड़ी companies हैं India की, they do their major business in those countries because margins बहुत ज़्यादा हैं, पैसे बहुत ज़्यादा मिलेगा. जो पैरासीटामोल यहाँ ₹1 की बिकेगी वो $5 की बिक्री होगी. So that's why this act has played significant role in growth of Indian pharmaceutical company, and it has also played significant role in growth of IP careers in pharmaceuticals in India. Now, what is Hatch-Waxman Act? Basically, now in US, the scenario before this act was there is a patent of an innovator, say Pfizer, and they're selling this API, and it's a 20 years of exclusivity. Now, no generic company can enter US, whereas Pfizer may have filed patents only in 50 countries. In the rest of the 60 countries, generics of that drug are available much cheaper, at much cheaper price. But in US, they're paying even 100 times that price. So how should they, now the US government was in a fix, how should they have the patent system and also allow generic companies to make generic drugs? Okay, this act solved that problem for them. No, they came up with something called as Orange Book. So every drug being sold in USA, if it is under patent, the company has to put it on Orange Book. Okay. So that other generic companies can look at it, and they can devise products so that it does not infringe on those patents. Okay. So what in India, in US, if there is a new API on the block X, for example, and an Indian pharmaceutical company wants to make this X in US, okay, they will bring a challenge against this company, usually under para 4 of this act. Okay, this is called para 4 litigation. This is the process. Okay, this is called as abbreviated new drug application. So the Indian generic company will file a abbreviated new drug application with the US FDA, right? Abbreviated new drug application may you don't have to give clinical trial studies in pharmaceuticals. This does not apply to biotech. Okay, it's only for pharmaceutical. So you do not have to give clinical trial data. You only have to provide bioavailability and bioequivalence studies to US FDA, and you have to show that your product does not infringe the listed patent in the Orange Book. Okay. But as soon as you make this application, a notice is given to the original company, the originating company, or the innovator company, that okay, so and so application has been applied for, and here we are giving you notice that they want to challenge your patent on your drug, that it is invalid. See, patent grant होने के बाद भी challenge किया जा सकता है, revoke करवाया जा सकता है, ठीक है, courts में. So now this is the process where they are challenging if we will revoke their patent. It's not patentable. It was granted by mistake or whatever. Okay, the law was not considered fully, or this prior art was not known at that time, whatever. Okay, and then a challenge will be given to the innovator company, the patent owner. They have 45 days to sue. Okay, if they sue in 45 days, they get a stay, 30 months stay on the approval of the NDA, abbreviated new drug application, by the generic company. However, if they win the challenge, they will have 6 months exclusivity. The first filer of generic drug will have 6 month exclusivity. So in that 6 months, there will be two companies in the market, the innovator and the generic company. So that's why Indian generic companies do para 4 litigation for this 6 month exclusivity. They want that. That period is hugely profitable. Okay, so these kind of all studies are done by obviously pharma grads with experience in IP law. They find out whether the patent drug that they have, their company has made, is it infringing on that patent. They study the patents, they study the structure, they study the claim, they study the chemical structures. They see if the salt is covered under this claim or not, whether this polymorph that we are going to sell is covered under this claim or not, etc., etc. Okay. Now I'll come to what the 3 major criteria of patentability. We have learned more. This is a bit. Let me just go back. Yeah. So 3 major criteria of patentability. Number 1 is novelty. Your invention must be new across the world. The novelty has to be global. Okay, you cannot come to me and say, Rahul, मेरा जो molecule है वो US में तो published है, US में तो granted है, India में कोई नहीं बेच रहा है, India में नहीं है, तो let's get a patent in India. You cannot do that. Okay, it should not have been disclosed anywhere in the world in any form. Any form. It can be a business publication. It can be, you can say, a publication in a library book, for example. Okay, it can be a patent. It can be a non-patent research paper. It can be a flyer. It can be on a website. It can be any kind of publication. Any publication which fully discloses your invention, then your invention won't be patentable. So novelty is absolutely important. So novelty is must. Then next criteria is inventor step. Now you have met the criteria of novelty. That is, your invention or your drug has novelty, that nobody has made it before. Is it inventive? As in, have you added a new functionality or utility, or have you come up with a new technical or scientific advance compared to the prior art. It should not be obvious to a person. For example, I give a very ridiculous example on this. Imagine all the chairs in the world are four-legged, right? You develop a five-legged chair. You say now, okay, this is novel. You have met the criteria of novelty. Is it inventive? Are you solving a problem? Is it adding to a utility of the chair? Is it adding a new functionality to the chair? Would it not have been obvious that something which stands on four legs will also stand on five legs, right? That's why the five-legged chair is not inventive. It will not be given a patent. Same principles or similar principles apply in pharmaceuticals as well. So if I know organic chemistry pretty well, for example, and there is a crystalline form or amorphous form of a drug out there, modifying it and getting a patent, which is what was being done in patent evergreening, okay? Modifying it and then getting a patent on it, would it be inventive? In India, it won't be considered inventive, okay? Because you have not provided any technical advance compared to the existing knowledge. And it would have been obvious to anybody who is expert in organic chemistry. They can make out, okay, this molecule, I can make so many salts out of it. I can make this structure. I can make this kind of enantiomer, etc., etc. So when these things are obvious to try, it's not patentable. All right. Now coming to an important aspect here. Okay, guys, I will let you guys have question and answers now. I think let's make it a bit interactive.
Thank you, sir. It was a great session, and you have started with the basics and explained the complex terms in simpler way. Also, give the comparable overview of patents in India as well as abroad. So now we'll move on to the question and answer session. Gian, can you present screen? Yes. Okay, the first question goes, how patents are giving rise to small R&D firms and how it should be boosting the morale of young minds.
See, patents are giving rise to small R&D firms. Patents don't give rise to small R&D firms. R&D firms give rise to patents. One thing, I'll give you a very good example, not from pharmaceutical, but how do they help R&D small R&D firms? That is the right question, and I'll help you answer this by giving an example from a totally different industry. There was this payments company, Innovity, Noida-based, small company, 10 people. They filed a patent in India on QR code, dynamic QR code technology. Okay, so if you scan a QR code right now, you will have to put the value, money, then you have to make the payment, right? They come up with a technology that every time a transaction takes place, a dynamic QR code will be issued. So as soon as you scan the QR code, the amount will be there with respect to the expense you have made. So you only have to press once and the amount will be done. So you don't have to interact with your mobile phone again and again. This technology was copied by a very big Indian company, Pine Labs. You must have seen their payment terminals and petrol pumps everywhere in India, right? या जिम में किसी में देखा होगा, किसी दुकान में देखा होगा जहाँ पे credit card swipe होता है. They introduced this tech through new devices in India. Innovity sued Pine Labs, a small company. They sued Pine Labs in Bangalore High Court, and it happened in, I think, 2019. Okay, they sued Pine Labs, and Bangalore High Court stopped Pine Labs from deploying that technology across India. So a company of 6 to 10 people was able to stop the big muscles, money power of a big company. So small R&D firms will benefit from, because they're R&D, research and development. If they come up with a new formulation, new route of administration, a new API, right, and they protect it, even though they may not have money or human resource to scale the production to the level that they would ideally want or to the level that can meet market's demand, but they are secure in the way that no big company like Sun Pharma or Cipla, they cannot muscle themselves in based on their huge money power and start selling the same product that they have developed. Okay, so it's like the patent is like is on your periphery of your business plan, of your business strategy. It's working. So I often compare patents to the Mediclaim, right? So Mediclaim we renew every year. We are paying 20,000, 30,000, depending on our premium rates, whatever the kind of medical coverage you want, right? And we do not regret not meeting an accident. कि मेरे 30,000 रुपए दिए और मेरा एक्सीडेंट नहीं हुआ इस साल, ऐसे कोई रिग्रेट नहीं करता है कि मैं हॉस्पिटल ही एडमिट हो जाता, एक आधी टांग ही टूट जाती, इतने पैसे दे दिए हैं, right? But the thing is, when you have a Mediclaim, you know, for companies who focus only on rare disorders, reason is market is small. But if there's a good patent exclusivity, companies will work on that. It will protect them against bigger companies with their bigger bank accounts and human resource capital. It will stop them from using that power to introduce the same product at market. Okay, so that's how small R&D firms can benefit with if they come up with a proper roadmap for filing patents on their research. Okay, and obviously if you have a patent in your name, especially in pharmaceutical, it definitely boosts the morale.
Yes, sir, completely agree. The next question. Okay. Next question goes, an organization like yours, what do they expect from B Farm and M Farm?
See, I would have opened a slide on careers, but I thought it would be good if I invite questions on careers directly. We are an IP company. What we are looking for is a person who is really good in B Pharma. Like, they know their chemistry well. They should be at the top of their game in their pharmaceutical chemistry. That is what we are looking at. IP is trainable. We can train you what we are looking at. It can be trained. Even if there is no IP exposure in the B Pharma, is lack of the technical knowledge. That is absolutely required when you are, for example, making a chemical structure, drawing chemical structures, analyzing and comparing chemical structures, right? All these things should be like second nature to you, kind of. So we are looking at high level technical expertise in the subject matter, not IP expertise, technical expertise. It's a myth, or you can say कि IP में जाना है तो B Pharma technical knowledge can be on the lower side. No, it cannot be. We are serving clients. You will be speaking with the clients who are PhD in pharma, right? And who will be CEO of a company, of a small R&D company, for example. You cannot go to them looking like you don't know your field. So what we are looking at for any IP company, including ours, we are looking for people who are very good in their field of technology they have selected. Clear on your basics in your chosen field.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, next question. Turmeric is not an invention, then how is it patentable? From Gayatri.
Turmeric is not an invention, then how is it patentable? I did not say turmeric is patentable. Turmeric is not patentable. What was patented in US, that was like a wound healing composition comprising turmeric. So it's not turmeric that is made patentable. They made patentable any composition which has turmeric in it, and it will be used for wound healing. That's it. So that's how it was claimed in US. It was not patentable. Reason because US PTO did not care for the traditional knowledge that comes from Indian and other Eastern societies. Okay, so now India has made available a traditional knowledge database, TKD, where the access is given to each of the world's patent offices to search patents related to such kind of subject matter. Okay, so it is not patentable. But if you develop a composition of turmeric which is say easy to apply, like वो Vico की आती है जैसे Vico. Vico is a base composition, but it has a lot of chemicals also in it. It makes it easy to for it to flow and all that, right? It is going to be patentable. You cannot stop it. Okay, you can have a composition comprising turmeric, chemical X, chemical Y, excipient Z. It will be patentable.
Okay, sir. Thank you. The patented drugs or product to have expiry, like do we need to renew the patents?
Yes, as I told you, the monopoly of the patents expire in 20 years from the date of filing a patent. Okay, and you have to renew them every year. In most countries, the renewal starts after the second year of filing. So if I filed a patent on 1st January 2021, then my renewal will start from 1st January 2023. Okay, so first 2 years will be free, but until the expiry of 20th year, like 21, so 2041, you will be paying renewal every year, and the renewal fees increases every 4 years or 3 years depending on the country.
So next question. Hmm. What will
Hmm.
happen if the patent drug shows
Hmm.
much of the ADRs, adverse drug reaction?
Hmm.
Will the drug be banned? And if the company or person wants to patent the same drug, after modifying, limiting the adverse drug reaction, the drug can be patented again?
Very good question. See, what happens in the regulatory, in the trials, the patent law does not really concern itself with. Okay, the patent law is about, okay, we developed a drug X, means to it is for treating heart ailment, and there is some activity in vitro, in vivo activity that we have found, and it should be given a patent. Okay, it checks all the boxes: novelty, inventor step, patent eligible, not against public order or morality, etc., etc. The patent has been granted. Now you come up with, when you go to trial on a big sample size, you see ADRs, you see adverse drug reactions, right? The drugs are never banned as such. The companies always reintroduce them. If there is a side effect, if I give you, there have been many repurposing like this. One of the most famous repurposed drug is Viagra. Okay, it was introduced to treat heart ailments. One of the side effect was erections in men. Then it was repurposed, but side effect is not desired. But then it was repurposed for that particular purpose only. Okay, to treat the potency market. Now, so it was not banned. So it can be banned in a certain indication, but even rare usage is allowed in many cases. The drug may be harmful to a large number of population, but somebody who's on deathbed and he has tried every drug and he wants to try this, they will be allowed to try this. Okay, so drugs are not usually banned like that. Okay, they are usually repurposed. Now the next part of the question is, the company wants to patent the same drug after modifying. As I told you, new form of a known substance in India is not patentable unless you show efficacy. So if you have reduced ADRs, that means you have shown efficacy. So it will be made patentable in India. So if you made an X dash, after making X, you made an X dash, you modified the drug slightly, and it drastically reduced the drug reactions, it will be patentable in India, very likely. Okay. So now you will file patent on X dash.
Thank you, sir.
But the nature of patent claim is such that even in the first patent that you have filed, X dash may be covered in its scope. Okay.
Yes.
If, for example, I can write a claim on drug X and its salts. That's it. I wrote that word. Okay. Your modification is actually a salt, right? Of X. That is already covered in your first patent. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Next question.
Next question, Jihan. Yes. Adult.
Next.
Next. Adalimumab was invented in 1993. How is that it is still under patent?
I'm not getting it. Hello.
So the person is asking that it was
Yeah.
being invented in 1993.
Okay.
After,
Adalimumab was invented in 1993. How is that it is still under patent? See, I have to. These are outlandish claims. I have to check what is under patent. This is a monoclonal antibody. And if it's patented, it was invented in 1993. It may not have been patented in 1993. It may have been patented much later. Now you must be wondering, then it was disclosed, right? Oh, it was not novel at the time of filing. Yeah, but it must have been invented in a private lab. It was not. It might not have been disclosed publicly until the patent was filed, which must have been filed, say, even 10 years after this. Okay.
okay.
All right. So we have to see this. I mean, adalimumab, many monoclonal antibodies. Even if the patent has expired, there's a problem with with commercializing biosimilars. The reason is the sequence of the heavy chain and light chain of this antibody will not be so apparent to the new manufacturer. That sequence information is very hard to obtain, and to run test and then find out sequences is also harder of the heavy chain and light chain of this monoclonal antibody. But this question is very, 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 very broad. I have to really check what is it really true or not, first of all.
Okay, sir. Uh, what
But
was the procedure for IPR and its importance in pharma industry?
okay, this entire task, this entire conversation is around this procedure
Yes.
for filing. But procedure for filing patent I'll cover for you. You conduct. I'll start from a patent attorney perspective. Okay, that is also a scientist perspective. You start with making a search whether your invention is new or not. So once you have done your own search and you find out, okay, I'm okay, fairly safe, you go and write a patent application, the one I've shown you. You draft it and you file it before Indian Patent Office. Okay. If you are an Indian resident, then you have to first file in India. You cannot file outside India, otherwise you can be sent to jail. Okay. And I'm telling you, you won't look good sitting beside people who are in jail for killing people. And if he asks you, भाई तुम क्यों जेल में हो, तो तुम्हारा रीजन बहुत सिली लगेगा. मैंने एक पेटेंट एप्लीकेशन बाहर फाइल कर दी थी. ठीक है. So before filing abroad, take a permission from Indian Patent Office. Okay. Now, after you file a patent before Indian Patent Office, you have to file a request for examination, RFE. After you file RFE, Indian Patent Office will come back with a first examination report. Okay, where it's a statement by Indian Patent Office of their objections and rejections, why they cannot allow a patent. You know, all these sections that I told you about, they will start citing them left, right, and center. You have to reply to that report, that objection. Okay. After that, you may be called for a hearing. Depending on that, a decision will be given to you. Right now, the procedure to get a patent in India is extremely paced up. Even if you do not expedite, तत्काल रूप के अंदर भी file नहीं करते हो application को, your patent can be granted in India. At least what I have seen is within 2 years. Okay, if you expedite, I think we've got one patent in as low as 5 months time, and as high as 1 year in expedited route. Okay.
Okay.
And
Thank
importance
you.
in pharma industry, I think I've already explained it enough.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Next question. What are the job prospects for IPR and patent rights professional in India and abroad?
Okay. See, in India, the IP scene is exploding as I can see, especially on the litigation side. Last 6-7 years, many startup India related activities picked up. Many companies filed patents, and every company is built by 20-year-olds or in their 30s. So this is a new generation where litigation is going to happen. Litigation is an eventuality. In India, litigation has increased tremendously in patents also. Okay. So job prospects are definitely bright, but you should not compromise. You should not, I always tell our team also, कि patent agent या patent lawyer बाद में हो. पहले तुम इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियर हो, पहले तुम कंप्यूटर साइंस इंजीनियर हो, पहले तुम बायोटेक्नोलॉजिस्ट हो. ठीक है. So be a pharmacist first. and I'm telling you, you will be you will become much better pharmaceutical IPR resource as well. Compromise मत करना pharma के knowledge में, ठीक है? Keep upskilling yourself. I also always tell, education is falling out of favor every 2 years right now. Whatever you learned now is not good enough in 2 years. The leaps and bounds that the science is jumping through is tremendous right now. So keep upskilling yourself. If you come across, I know most of you might not be so good with computers, but if you are good with computers, or if you're not, start getting good in computers. Drug discovery, in silico drug discovery is coming up in a big way. So prospects are high, but keep your technical game ahead. So you'll do good in IPR, in India and abroad, both ways. You need not become a lawyer. You need not pursue an LLB to become a patent agent in India. Okay, you are a B Pharma. You can appear for a patent agent exam, and you can practice as a patent agent in India. Okay, but if you want to practice before courts of India for pharmaceutical patent matters, then you will have to take an LLB. But if you are okay with getting a patent and not litigation, then no need of LLB.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you. It was really indeed a great session. And this was the last question, by the way. With this, we are now approaching the end of the program. As promised, we will provide all the students with the grade certificate according to your performance in this short assessment test. All of you are requested to take a screenshot of this particular page and save it with yourself. These are the steps you have to follow for accessing the quiz. Top 30% scorers of the quiz will receive a discount of 20% of any one of the Pharmacracy courses, which can be availed on the app itself. Make sure you complete this before the time limit to make your place in top 30%. Now, on behalf of the whole team of Pharmocracy, would extend my most sincere thanks to our guest of the event and all the dignitaries who have been part. Thank you, sir, for sparing some time this weekend. I also extend my heartiest gratitude towards Pranav, sir, for helping us with conducting this event. I would also extend my gratitude towards all the participants for being for their utmost presence and patience. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Very well organized event by young students. मैं जब कॉलेज जाता हूँ मुझे रियलाइज नहीं होता कि मैं बहुत बड़ा हो चुका हूँ अभी. So by mind I still remain a kind of student, but it's good to see the kind of activities you are doing. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody has any concern on want to explore an IP career and all that, we do provide trainees and internships. Okay, reach out to me. My email address is with Anushka and the team. Reach out to me with your CVs and we will provide you. रगड़ देंगे अच्छे से काम कराएंगे तुमसे. कॉफी नहीं बनवाएंगे इंटर्न वाली, ठीक है? And we give all our internships are paid. Okay, so we'll make sure you will given whatever we can give. We'll give you a good stipend as well. Okay.
Thank you, sir. And you all will be receiving a feedback form after the meeting ends. We would love to hear from you and improve ourselves in future events. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice Sunday.
Yes,
Bye.
same to you.
So, yeah, thanks, team.
Thank you, sir.